Hey, how's it going out there, everyone? Welcome back here to a Monday night, about 10:10 p.m. California time here, December 23rd, 2024 is the date. Latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 1.5 into the California area. A couple earthquakes striking off the Northern California region here today, and within the last couple hours, it looks like, across the area where we had that 7-pointer a few weeks back, 3.4 and a 3.5. That 3.5 originally coming in as a 4.3 earthquake, got revised there to that current magnitude. I was looking at some of these stations here. They went with a decent station reporting an error rate of 0.158. Some of these other ones here were, up and down in terms of the magnitude. So it looks like that was indeed a 3-pointer compared to the 4.3 that came in as a preliminary magnitude earthquake there. So things are starting to kick up here a little bit across the California area. And that's really the only region right now of any major elevated, well, I can't say major, but elevated activity here within the last few hours. So let's go ahead and look a little bit more in detail. I've got these two off here, Northern California. Really nothing showing up there on the seismograph stations there right now across this area. Up around Mount Shasta, one earthquake, 2.7 here. Pretty shallow earthquake here, a little crustal quake going on. Looks like, yeah, that was today, a little bit earlier in the evening. Just outside of Mount Shasta here to the northeast. Nothing major going on there for now, but it is, it's a beautiful volcano. I can see it from my, whenever I go driving out here around the Chico area. Sits up to the north a little bit, but you can see that beautiful mountain there all over southern Oregon and northern California. But it is a volcano, and one day it will pop. Right now, pretty quiet out there. Just that one earthquake off to the side, very shallow earthquake. Let me check here the tremor map here tonight, see if we got any tremor going on with the increasing earthquake activity. And nothing going on, even though we're getting a little bit of elevated earthquake activity offshore here. No tremor. So, of course, this just came in. We'll have to check tomorrow's tremor because there's a cutoff period. I think it's about 6 or 7 p.m. local time here when they cut it off. So we'll check back tomorrow in terms of Cascadia tremor. Movement around the Cobb Mountain area. This is hydrothermal operations. Nothing going on there, aside from the typical earthquake activity. Nothing big. Nevada region, still seeing some movement out there following that 5.7 earthquake a couple weeks back. So starting to fill in with some aftershock sequences. Still getting a little bit of movement here around the San Andreas Fault, around the creeping segment. One notable, within the last hour earthquake, a 1.5 near Morgan Hill. That's off the Calaveras fault zone here. But most of this activity centered around this region, it looks like, here of the San Andreas Fault, with some movement stirring up out here with some 1s and some 2s. If we go back the last 7 days, you can see yesterday's activity as well around that region of the San Andreas Fault. So that's a creeping segment. Lets me know right there that the plates are on the move. So we still got to keep an eye on the San Andreas Fault. Southern California right now, pretty quiet. I'm not seeing a whole lot of activity across the region in terms of decent magnitude earthquakes. Everything's underneath 2.5, and it's very little at that. A little bit of swarming still outside of the Beatty area, south of Tonopah. What do we got? About 27 earthquakes here today. Yesterday or so, we've seen a couple more, so that brings up the magnitude or the multitude levels here to about 50 earthquakes in a sequence of events here with really no main quake. Western Nevada here has definitely been a hot spot of strain and tension, so to speak, out here, and it's all got to do with what goes on here across the plate boundary between the two plates. So just a lot of this inland activity here letting me know that things are quite wound up out here. So we're still watching California here for some movement. One little earthquake there on the east side of the San Joaquin Valley this morning. Further out into Montana, a couple smaller earthquakes up there, nothing big. The Yellowstone overview. Bring that up here real quick, see what we have. Pretty quiet, not a whole lot of earthquake activity showing up out here. As you can see on the graphs, there's maybe one or two very small spikes, but that's very minimal. Rest of the country out here, pretty quiet aside from the oil fields in Texas. And a look at the worldwide activity here. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of newer, larger activity taking place here yet. We're always moving out here in terms of the plate tectonics, but it occasionally pops off some large earthquakes here, and I think we're getting ready for one somewhere. The question is where. Some renewed activity up here across the Japan area. Seen a couple earthquakes here at the southern end towards the Japan Trench, a 4-pointer, and then looks like about an hour later a 4.5 at the northern end here, just off the northern end of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. So we got to watch this region right here. It is a major player in building up tension, right? And slip rate up here is quite high, so it doesn't take hundreds of years to build up enough strain here across that major subduction zone for a big earthquake. And just getting, this one could be getting close as well, in terms of a larger mega quake out here somewhere. Eventually it's going to happen. I mean, I think we're overdue now for an 8-pointer, right? Keep saying that. I don't want to jinx it, but it's coming out here somewhere. Hawaii, I was just looking at this. The status out here shows that the Kilauea volcano has come to a halt in terms of the eruption. Let's go check it out and see what they're stating here for the latest update. As of 5:14 p.m., that's tonight, local time there in Hawaii, the eruption of Kilauea slowed significantly between this time and appears to be paused. So that's kind of a short-lived eruption, to say the least. Shooting off some beautiful imagery, or fountains here, I should say, in the imagery earlier. Let's see, there's one of them. Fish are opening up and filling up the lava lake out there. Let's see, let's check out this one right here. I believe this was a decent one. Should show, there it is. It showed just as it popped over here. Watch over here in this corner. Boom. And then, of course, it fills up the surface area of the lava lake. There's a little bit of fountaining there across the side of it. But as of right now, they said that it's paused. So let's go see what is out there real quick. We can go to the webcams and check out the summit area right now. Still, obviously, that's very fresh lava. So it's going to be, it's kind of like glowing, but it's lit up here because of the heat. It's going to take a couple days for this to cool down and solidify. But the eruption area is back over here, I believe. So it looks like things have, definitely halted here. Earthquake activity has kind of come to a stop as well across the Kilauea volcano. The last one looks like about 14:03, so that's 2 o'clock my time, 2.5, and that's about it. So it's possible here that might just be it. Maybe there was just barely enough accumulation of magma there to break through to the surface to produce this short-lived eruption. This was the eruption stage right here. We've seen a pretty decent uptick in inflation, and then it gradually went down. The only other thing is here, looks like recently we're starting to go back up in terms of inflation pretty quickly. You guys see that? So that means that we just have a blockage there that is preventing the free flow, so to speak, of the magma. Notice that? Starting to go back up. So we're going to have to watch that overnight, see what happens. It could resume in the same spot or maybe a different area around the lava lake. We'll have to watch that closely and see what happens. But that's a short-lived eruption, to say the least. But obviously it looks like it's not over. Let's see, Alaska. Nothing major going on up there. Couple twos, couple threes. That's about it. New Zealand down there was looking at the earthquake 3D globe. Couple earthquakes down there. Some deeper movement quakes underneath North Island again. This is another area that can see some mega quake activity. The Hikurangi subduction zone been showing some movement out here recently. Pretty shallow earthquake here at the northern end. Quite a bit of deeper activity here underneath North Island, which would be into the subduction zone here of the Hikurangi. So that's active. No big quake activity there for now. Across this area of the world, let's see what we have. Well, the latest quake of 4.1 in the Greece area up there. Handful of earthquakes out there today. And in the last couple hours, it looks like nothing big. Just some typical movement showing up across the areas of the Middle East, westward here along the plate boundary. Atlantic Ocean, pretty quiet. No further movement out here following that odd 5.9 earthquake there in Cuba. Kicked off there yesterday. I mean, I guess if I were to mention anything, there's been a little bit of uptick here across the Puerto Rico area since that 5.9 over here across the plate boundary into that little subduction zone region right here. And yeah, so it looks like it stirred up a little bit of activity out here. One more earthquake, 2-pointer. Got to remember this region here is well, it's got the Puerto Rico Trench, right? I think we all know about that. Pretty big player out here. But there's also the Mariottos Trough right here. So when things are strained out here against the Caribbean plate, it really puts a squeeze on the Puerto Rico region. That's why we always see a lot of swarming activity kicking up out here. And it looks like that's taking place right now. Let's go ahead and check out space weather, see what's going on here. Tomorrow, Christmas Eve. As far as flares go, there's that near X flare last night, early this morning. There's the active region coming around the eastern limb. The area that produced that near X flare is right about here. Still looks like it's possible we could see some further flaring from that region, but I think we need to watch that area way out there on the northeastern limb. It's not named yet. It is circled here in the visible imagery of the solar disk, so we should have a number for that pretty soon. Okay, so it looks like maybe that CME that was produced from the near X flare this morning had somewhat of an Earth-directed component. So I want to go over and check that out real quick, see what we have. For the auroras, maybe we have some Christmas time auroras coming up. I guess we'll see. This is going to be the model right here. We'll put this into motion. Sun right here in the yellow, Earth in the green, stereo A in the red. Notice that CME being produced. Here's Earth again. Yeah, it looks like it's got a little bit of a hit, a little bit of an impact. Plasma density is up, so is the solar wind stream. So I'd say we got a chance of maybe seeing some auroras there on, well, looks like Christmas time period here. So this is for tonight. This is for tomorrow night. The 24th. Well, this is the creation time of the 24th. So I wonder if that's KP index at 4. Huh? Is this tonight? That tonight? Created though. This is UTC time, so this has to be for tonight. Obviously, this is tomorrow. We'll check back on it, but looks like December 25th of UTC time between 1518 and 1821. Right. Current UTC time is the 24th. So, yeah, that may not be the best time for that to come in, I don't think. But, yeah, that would be Yeah, the 24th. 25th would be this time tomorrow. Yeah, so that'd probably actually be around Christmas time there. We'll check back on that. Sometimes those UTC dates get me a little bit on the figuring out what time it is. What I need to do is add me a UTC clock up here. I know the Earthquake 3D program has one right here, 0625 UTC time, but it'd be cool just to have maybe a separate one out here so I can keep an eye on it. Figure the conversions there on the time compared to local time here. But we'll check back on that tomorrow. It's not happening at night. If anything, maybe tomorrow night or possibly on Christmas night there. Yeah, so flare threat, 10% chance there. M flare at 65. C flare around 99% chance. Looks like the proton event there has disappeared. We're showing a little bit there on the solar polar regions, but that has since disappeared. All right, see what else we have here. Thunderstorm activity out here across Northern California a little bit. As we bring up the threat here, here's the thunderstorm forecast. Overnight, we could have some thunderstorms, maybe tomorrow as well. During the daytime, early evening hours, looks like the best chance here for thunderstorms in the valley. A little bit more severe weather potential out there across Texas area for tomorrow. Got a marginal risk down there. Looks like mainly due to some wind and hail threats. The tornado threat is less than 2% for those storms down in Texas tomorrow. But got a decent chance, maybe some wind and some hail associated with these storms that are firing up from a line that will kick up here as I put this into motion. Right there. Bringing some rainfall across East Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, southeastern Oklahoma. So this system's moving on out for California. Again, we're supposed to get some decent rainfall here overnight. That'll move out and make way for another system there a couple days after Christmas along the West Coast. And maybe another little one after that. And the pattern starts to switch up a little bit as we head into January. Getting a lot of colder air mixing in way down south. And that's when we can see the severe weather threats here. This could be a big-time severe weather day across this area first week of January. So got to watch the interaction there with the colder air. Very dynamic setups this time of year. That looks like a nice ice storm and a big old severe weather threat possibly there around the second week of January. We'll keep an eye on it, folks. Of course, things can change in a blink of an eye. A little spike of an earthquake on the China Lake Station. That's down around Ridgecrest area. Nothing showing up there on the map, but a little spike of an earthquake. Nothing big. Overall, folks, we'll just watch things out here, see how it plays out. Got one new earthquake up here since I've been yakking up in Alaska, 3.2. In the last 10 minutes or so, it looks like. Yeah, aside from that, have yourself a wonderful evening. We'll be back here tomorrow morning for the Tuesday morning update. Doesn't matter if it's Christmas or New Year's or 4th of July. I always try to be out here when I can to provide some updates and whatnot, daily updates on earthquake activity. Just something I've been doing for, quite a few years now. Quite a few years here, so pretty consistent. Try to stay consistent. I think that's pretty important, I would say. So yeah, we'll catch you guys back out here in the morning. Hope everyone has a good evening. Stay safe out there. And man, did you guys hear about that portion of the Santa Cruz boardwalk out there, or that pier, literally broke off? Pretty crazy. I don't know if they were on a section that wasn't supposed to be have people on. I think they were doing a restoration project on it or had one planned, and literally I believe that whole chunk right here fell off, and there was people standing. It was floating. It literally disconnected here, fell into the Pacific, and there was a few people out there floating along with the material. The boardwalk itself as it was drifting further out into the Pacific. Those folks, I know a couple of them got picked up, rescued. I don't know if there was any other injuries or not, but that is just crazy. We've been having some decent waves out here, I guess, from all the low pressure systems. But that's crazy. I couldn't believe it, but there's video of it. So go check it out on the Santa Cruz pier here. A little bit shorter than what it used to be. All right. Have a good night, folks. We will catch you guys back out here in the morning unless something major happens in the night. Of course, I'll be awake for that, obviously. Have a good one. Stay safe out there.